but I'll prefer not to use them as much as I can. It's good to talk about, and you can just stop me, interfere, ask me at any point of time. I think good thing about Carval's story is that it's very, very ordinary. It's so ordinary that anybody who thinks about building a company will get a lot of faith, thinking that if Mohit and team can do it, then anybody else can do it as well. So let me show you it's like one slide actually, which I think I like a lot. I'll put a one slide on the side. And in fact, good thing is I normally say we are a very simple team story, and I have this nice formula, O dot T equal to S. Basically says there are two ordinary individuals. Very, very ordinary. Except one of us nobody went to IIT. Rather, each of us tried and failed. I didn't even do my engineering, right? And I run a technology company. But we have spent a lot of time together. We have spent. Two of my co-founders happened to be from the same school as I am from, like Seneca School. We were like public school, and though I don't remember meeting in the school, they were like two junior, but we just had some common bond, right? Other co-founder happened to be my MBA batchmate, but we spent a lot of time together, So the least amount of time one of the co-founders spent with me 9 years. Everybody has more than that. So that's how. And I think we put a lot of efforts and to just build this, and it was huge satisfaction to build a category, either in terms of generating dollars for the VCs, building a new category in terms of car buying or researching cars online, etc. And I think some of the people who work at Carvalho build their own bungalows, after spending 7-8 years with us. So, but let me start from the very beginning. I come from a very, very small middle class family, which is based out of central India, a place called, I'm born in Narsinghpur, so that's a place near Jabalpur actually. For every place I come from, I want to say near because it's so small. My parents said, it's in near Indore, and they've been there for the last couple of years. And I don't really have many memories, of spending time in Narsinghpur because I very early age I actually went to Seneca School leaver, and I was the youngest among those 120 people batch. Everybody was elder to me, and I was really small. Like I was like 3 foot 9 inches when I actually went to the school, and I think I was really surprised. I didn't really come out of that feeling. It's a big school, and everybody was around me bullying actually. And Chinese schools have been really, very they're great schools. You get a lot of exposure, in terms of talent and everything else. But they're really tough. So, but I think I got a good exposure early days. And I still remember in my 7th standard, one of my vest in my underwear was like torn. So I wrote to my parents saying that, very banyan fatti hai for me. And I have one in my suitcase. So can I just change it? All I got to do was open the suitcase and take it out, right? But you're 6th standard, you're being with parents all the time, you can't even decide that. So my mother wrote back to me nicely saying, Mohit, beta छोटी छोटी बातों के लिए घर में नहीं पूछते हैं, है ना? ये तुम बड़े हो गए, सारे तुम डिसीजन खुद ले सकते हो. I think that line has such an impact on me. I got married, I didn't ask them. I went to Goa and called them saying that I like this college, I'm going to do my MBA here. I left Goa, came to Bombay, so I joined this company, and I told my father. I started a company, and I told them, I gave up a job, I started this company. I left to Bhopal and came to, so many incidences, right? So, and I don't think they regret that actually. I remember going to my brother's marriage just a couple of years back, and my father said that everybody opposed the marriage when I got married, right? Everybody means everyone. I didn't have a place to live in when I got married. I'll come back to that part, but my father told everybody, all relatives sitting in the room saying, I think Mohit ने जो किया था बहुत अच्छा किया. उसने किसी को परेशान नहीं किया. He managed everything himself, right? And we can already see, a lot of people, modern marriages that they did, right? My brother, my sister, everybody here. And who doesn't have issues in life? But he said, look, he decided, he did it, and he lived with it. He managed it very well. So I think there's one thing common between being husband and being a CEO, because nobody can actually teach you how to do it, right? You get into it and you learn. You learn how to manage that. I mean, that's as simple as that. You get married one day, there's no way that somebody can teach you this is right, this is not right. It's very customized, it's up to you. There's so many things. So exactly being a CEO, you had no clue, no amount of being a VP or a general manager or anything else can actually tell you what it takes to be a CEO. So that's exactly how it has been for me. and I've been learning it all the time, all the way. And every year I really feel that if I don't grow up now, it's going to be a complete mess, right? And I think that has kept me on toes. I read a lot. I read God knows how many books. I read it all the time because I never went to a big school. I never really worked for a big company. And the only company I worked for was in Bombay, a very small company. I'll talk about that as well. So I really didn't have big exposure, So all I could do is just read books, talk to people, figure it out. Even when I interview people which come from a big company, I actually ask them, how their weekly meeting goes. What are the kind of matrices they look at? So forget about interviewing that guy. First thing I want to know whether I reject or accept them is to know all those things. Anyway, so after starting school, I went and did my MBA from Goa, and I was then I came back to. In my college days, I happened to attend a camp, and I met a girl there called Priya, and I think we hit on really well, and we exchanged a lot of letters, long letters. I think possibly I wrote maybe 1,000, 2,000 letters in my life, one every day. And even when I go, the postman, there's a girl called Maria. She used to know me. Every day she'll come and deliver a letter, right? I don't know if you remember that joke. There's a guy used to write a letter to his wife every day, right? Letter postman is not bike, right? But he meets every day. You're writing letters, he's meeting you, right? So, Mari used to smile me looking from a distance, thinking that, there are no letters again for him. So, but I came back to work in Bombay. Priya once called me up saying that Mohit, things are not good at home. And I happened to meet her father, because he came as a guest faculty in my college once. Otherwise, he literally figured the Hindi writer, very well known. So he knew me, but nobody else in the family had met actually. And she's from Vidisha, so she wrote to me saying, "Boy, things are not good at home, and what do you?" This also tells you how I think about a lot of things. Maybe that will tell you why I became an entrepreneur. He said, "I think we're going to meet, and maybe we should get married." So I went and I told my brother I used to stay with him in Lokhandwala, Neri, and I said, "Bhaiya, this is how it is. I need to go and meet him." He said, "Okay." He said, "But if you're getting married, make sure that my papa agrees to it. Otherwise, you're not coming back to this house." I said, "Okay." So I went and met my parents. They said, no, you can't do this. They're Chhatri, they're Brahmin, all that thing. I said, "Look, I committed to her. I only promised her. There's no way I should go and break this promise. Assume, somebody make a promise to Mona Didi and then doesn't follow up, right? That wouldn't be good." But somehow they did agree. So I went and got married to her with some 2,000 rupees in the pocket, actually, right? And I hired a nice taxi to bring her back to her. And that blew another $1,000. So when I landed in Bombay, not landed, when I get out of the bus in Bombay, I was left with 150 rupees in my pocket without a place to live in. And I took a taxi from maybe Fort to Metro Cinema, because just opposite Metro Cinema was my office. I think I paid another 30-40 rupees for that. And I took her to Fashion Street, bought her a pair of clothes, a blower and a t-shirt. And that's all. I was literally broke, without a house to live in. And I got to my office to say, just to tell them that, I'm back. My colleague picked up the phone and said, "Mohit, where were you?" It's me. Hi. The chair there. My colleague picked up the phone and said, "Mohit, where were you? The last 5 days, you had no news. And I knew you went and you were about to get married to Priya, but you had no money. I remember you had just 2,000 rupees in your bank account." I said, "Yeah, so I'm back and I'm still here." He said, "By the way, I need to come and meet you because Ravi, who was our CEO, has sanctioned a loan of 40,000 rupees for you." I didn't apply for it. I didn't inform that, that I want to leave, forget about a loan. And he said, "They have sanctioned a loan for you. Where can I come and give you this cash, right?" So I said, "I'm just back up to his office." And he came down and handed me 25,000 rupees. And he said, "I didn't know I was to live in as well, because I called up Bhaiya." He said, "He's not coming here." He said, "Why don't you come to my house?" And it was like one small room with 5 people only living in those 5 beds. And he stayed with them for 3-4 days. So, and then I went about looking for a place. Can I get you this chair?
Yeah, good.
You're good there?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. No, but there's no chair there, right?
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
No, there's one there. Thank you.
Thank you. It's fine.
So, yeah, we stayed with them with those bunch of guys for a couple of days, and I keep looking for a house because I used to stay at Lokhandwala, just next to Mandra Dini's house. I was used to those big houses. My brother was like a GM with BSNL, etc. So I never thought that I can even live in even a central line or anywhere else, right? Because if you live in Lokhandwala, you think this is the only western line is the only line. But I went and looked for so many houses, but nobody gave me. Everybody wanted to have a deposit of 10 months, etc. I couldn't get a house. I got out of my office again after 3 days to extend my leave. My boss said that, Mohit, what's happening with you? I said, no, everybody is just, I'm not able to find a house. He said, why don't you go to Dubey and check it out? I had a flat there, maybe you'll like it. I said, Dubey, the thought itself was, so bad for me. But then I went and saw Dubey. It was a big house, and with a room as big as this, a hall as big as this one. And, my office was so nice, they gave a reception when I got married. They gave me that flat to live in, and we stayed there for 2-3 years or so. But then, so I actually got exposed to a nice, boss. And I remember at Carvale, we used to give loans to employees, and people took loan after resigning, right? Because that's how my boss was to me. He sanctioned a loan without asking me. So when my CFO finally came in, he said, "Boy, what is this, right? People take a loan any point of time. You don't even worry about it, how is it?" And we have so many structures in the company which came out of the philosophy that you don't have to go and control people. You hire good people, you work with them. We have unlimited leave policy in the company, right? We believe that, and we don't cut salaries if you take more leave than like 25. But a lot of people just don't take any leaves, in fact. And that also tells us that people who take advantage of the system, and you start knowing them. One of the philosophies I think we really work with very self-responsible, self-motivated people, so you don't have to go and manage them a lot. The vouchers don't get scanned by anybody. So you put a voucher, it go through HR, finance department straight, and they do 10% random check. If you find somebody has cheated or somebody has put a wrong voucher, they get fired right away. We don't even discuss about it. So people take a lot of care when they file it. But that's it. That saves so much of bureaucracy or so much everybody's time. And so I think there is one very nice incident which I'll tell you, and that will possibly tell you a few things. I got into the job with Ravi by M.M. Punjaji Spices Limited, and I was there for 3 months. I was like a trainee, reporting to one of the clerk over there, and that was my first job. And one day, Ravi met me in corridor and asked me, "Mohit, you are a trainee here." I said, he said, "Don't you think we are wasting of 4,000 rupees that you are paying every month, because that's what they used to pay me, and then nothing can we get out of you, right? What are you doing here?" All my job was that day there was to send faxes, do photocopies, and that's it. The clerk will send me to go and pick the bill of lading from somewhere and things like that. I said, "Gee, Ravi, I think so, you're right. I think Ravi, it's not 4,000 bucks. I'm in fact wasting all of my career." Yeah. Chairs लेके आओगे क्या? Hi.
Hi, Mohit.
So, I said, "Ravi, what about my career? I don't think I'm wasting my career here actually, right? The 90 years." He said, "Yeah." And but I said, "If you have 5 minutes, I'm going to show you something." I took him out of my desktop. What I did, I saw that plenty time. Sending those faxes it's not like a 12-hour job. So I got plenty time. In my plenty time, what I did was looked at all the documents, and I knew what exports are happening. And somebody told me that if you become an export house, you have so many benefits in the government. So I did all the documentation required to being an export house, and they were falling short with like 1 or 2 crore. I said, "If next year we can fulfill this, and this is how it would be, right?" So at least he thought that there's somebody in this office who owns this responsibility, and he's so concerned about it, right? It's just been 3 months in the company. He's telling me, "Next year this is what we could do, and this is how it can help us." So he liked it a lot. Next day he called me to his office and said that, "Mohit, we fired Maria." The Mario was the guy who was like a very senior GM, and he used to have an 8-10 people team. His job was to make sure that everything is coordinated in the company, right? Like his AVP coordination, and ensure that all the material reaches company. And they used to make pickles and gravies and ready-to-cook gravies, sauces, marinades, and this kind of stuff. So you need to make sure that a lot of material reaches in the factory. So he said, "Well, we fired Mario. Would you like to replace him?" Now that's like too much, right? Till yesterday I was sending faxes and photocopies, and now you can't ask me, "Would you replace the GM?" I said, "Maybe if you think so." But he said, "By the way, I can't give the dedication that he had, right? I'll give the same responsibility. You're responsible for the same thing, except that you're not at the team that you had, right? Because nobody will report to you. You're just too young. You just come to the company." So he said, "But you need to work with the same set of people and go to them. I'll put you as one of the team guy. But to me, you're the only one responsible for it." I think that changed my life, because I realized that I cannot go to my purchase manager Pratham and tell him, "Pratham, I need you to buy 2 tons of garlic just tomorrow, or get me 1 truck mangoes cut in 5 days." No, I can't go and give this order to Pratham. All I can do is walk up to Pratham and say, "Hey Pratham, get this nice order. Can you help me do this? Or can you work towards this?" And all my job was to go and just ask them, very politely. And Pratham will say, "Hello, I bought garlic for the last 3 months continuously, and we're not even paid any of the vendors yet. So I really don't have a new vendor." you can go to APMC market yourself and figure it out. So I did give APMC market a couple of times, myself and bought stuff. And then he said, why don't you, I said, why don't you get to vendor? He said, go and ask finance. I'll go to finance. Finance will say, the money outstanding with so many clients, so many of our, so many clients, why don't you go and check with export team? I'll go to VP export and say, he'll say, I got 5 container order. We only ship 3. And the payment terms after 5, after the 4th one, we'll get 33%, right? So, boy, come on, ship 1 more container, I'll get you that. It was like a round and round, right? But they told me one thing very clearly that, you need to work with people and influence them. So I'll make sure I eat lunch with Pratham, I'll go out and, work with him, drive along with him in his car to Dada and then talk to him, tell him, how we can change things, etc. I started selling the company's vision to them, which they already didn't believe in. But I think it gave me great exposure, but I was really exhausted after 8 months. I went to Dubey and resigned and said, Dubey, this is not what I'm born to do. I work on it like it's a 24-hour job actually, including factory. I used to work at night, so I used to coordinate with them also at night. So I resigned and I said, Dubey, this is not what I'm born to do. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to MB finance. I want to do something in financial services, and my dream was to go and work in a bank. He said, then why don't you become my executive assistant? Maybe you can make banking proposals, you'll raise some money. So I said, okay, sounds good. And he taught me, how to make banking proposals. But it was all lie. All I was supposed to do was put XTC, which I didn't believe in at all, and drag them, and create those positions, and tell them what kind of stock we had. And it was complete lie. I hope he didn't see this video, but I didn't believe in that at all. And after another 5-6 months, but I got exposed to that part. And actually, I saw, what does it take to go to a bank, and how does the bank look at things. Right? When used to tell me, well, these are the 5 ratios the bank really worry about. All you got to do is make sure the 5 ratios look like this. I don't really care how you put your sales and how you put expenses, right? So I did it for a couple of months. Another 7-8 months, I was really done. I said, right away, this is not what I'm going to do again. He said, what do you want to do? This time I had a better answer. I said, right away, I want to do Oracle affiliations. I want to be a SEP consultant and things like that. He said, why you want to be that? But I said, no. And I resigned. I told him right away, I already resigned. I already settled with the HR department. I done all of it. So without he knowing, and I was pretty influential in the company because I worked so hard, everybody listened to me. I worked so hard, my distinction was production coordinator. And I worked so hard that I went to HR and changed my direction to central coordinator, something like that. And HR asked me why you do that. I said, this is what I do in this company. If anybody comes and tells me, Mohit doesn't do this, then you put whatever you want to put, right? You can put peon in that. But I said, I do this exactly. And he refused. So I went to that guy who used to print cards. I said, look, hey, this is how you're going to print this card. Like, this is what I will really written on this card. I got this card printed, the first card I gave it to the HR manager, and I said, you can do whatever you like, right? But I was so confident, I really worked hard for that company. So when I resigned, I had no choice. I said, okay, fine. Then I went to a small course here in Ghatkopar. They used to teach Java and e-commerce, WebLogic, server, etc. And went and inquired. And they said that the fee would be like 70,000. I said, have you ever given a discount on this fee? They said, yes. We gave it last year for 50,000 bucks. So I said, maybe that's the price I can come up with, right? So he said, but if you get me 3 people, I'll give you this cost of 50,000. So the 2 people used to report to me. I motivated them, if my future is not here, and then what will you do in this company? So I actually motivated them to resign, and they resigned along with me. And then I took their names and said, there are 3 more people who are coming and going to come and take this course. So they give a lower fee. But I came home and I asked Pia, Pia, what do I do? Should I, because I became this job, and she used to earn 4,500 rupees, working with us. I think I love Mumbai, or she used to work on all these NGOs, some AIDS rehabilitation center, etc. She said, I make 5,000 rupees, that's enough for us to eat. And as long as you can stay in this house, you don't have to worry about it. So my job was to go to Raibai and say, Raibai, can I stay in this house for a couple of months? So I went to Raibai. Raibai, I entered his cabin, he was on a call. And he hung up the call and he said, Mohit, I have a work for you. Think about it, he gave me a reception, he gave me a loan without asking for it, he gave me a house to live in, right? And I owe him so much. I had a lot of respect for him. So Raibai said that, Mohit, and he didn't even remember that I already resigned. I just came to visit him. He said, I have a task for you. I said, tell me, Raibai. He said, my brother is in the US, he runs a company called SNAS. SNAS was shopping on net A to Z. SNAS.com. It's a .com, boom, like 2000. And he said, I want you to get this company registered at Vashi Infotech Park, in this park here, by 31st March. If we do that, there will be a 10-year of tax holiday. He was excited about it, saying, Mohit, we got to get this done. It was 27th of March. And he's telling me, get this registered by 31st of March. And I had no clue what I'm getting into, so I said, okay. And like I said, when I have a flight to London in the evening, so I'm going to go. But here's Vikram's email ID. If you want to get in touch with him, you can write to him and see you like in 4-5 days. That's okay. He left. Had no clue what to do and how to get the company registered. So I called a couple of my friends who are chartered accountants and lawyers. They said, well, the first thing you should do is go to the IT park and meet some official there to ask them, what are the forms to be filled up, what do they need, etc. So I came in. I met some MD, Mr. Sharma. He gave me a long form that you can get project report, how much will the company import, how much will export, what is the business model, etc., and how many employees. So he gave me a lot of things. And he said, and along with the you need company incorporation certificate, PAN card number, DCFT number, this all of those numbers. I said, okay. So I understood the first thing is company has to get incorporated, right? So next day, Marina is the register of company office. So I went to Marina. They said, what name you want? I had no clue. So I said, Snatch Tech India Private Limited, something like that. So I wrote that. He said, name is available. He gave me a letter for £500 saying that this is the name is available. Then I said, okay, how do I register it? He said, give me name of directors, MOA, all of those things, etc. So I wrote down and I gave it to them. My office was nearby, so I printed and gave it to them. He said, come back after 15 days, right? If we can register. I said, 15 days? I mean, I have left in only 3 days to get this company registered in IT Park. He said, this is not how it works. I said, do I need to pay you more? Do I do something? What do I do to get it done? He said, nothing. This will take 15 days. If you insist, maybe 10 days. So, that one letter of that this name is available. I went to income tax office actually, and I applied for PAN card. And he said, are you crazy? The company is not incorporated. How could you apply for PAN? But I took a form and I filled it up, assuming the company is registered and everything else. I really filled it up. And I said, you can reject this. All I wanted is a receipt of this application. And I went to every government office, whichever I was supposed to get registered, right? And I filled all those forms and somehow I got a receipt. In one office, I think it was very difficult. Somehow I found one lady old lady night, one corner, and I went and I said, nobody is listening to me. Maybe would you help me, right? And she somehow said, okay. All he's asking for a receipt of the application, right? You're not even saying you can say rejected. But everybody gave me. And I came and applied in this office, right? Saying that company is getting incorporated, get done in 10 days. Here's the project report, here's this. So all that was done. And just after, so it was 4 days. After 4 days, it was supposed to be announced, right? That so on 4th of something like that, I came here and there was I remember still there were 10,000 people standing in this building. It was completely jammed packed. Everybody wanted a 10-year tax holiday, the .com, boom, all of those days. And somehow somehow I managed to go see that board, and our name was not there actually, right? And I felt so sad, so sad about it. I worked really hard the last 4 days, putting out every report. That also made me want to make a nice report for e-commerce company. But in somehow it's not, I couldn't get it done. So I got a reply by 2 o'clock. And I was literally crying on the phone for the first time. I said, I'm so sorry. You wanted to take me a tax holiday. I couldn't get it done for you. He said, but why are you crying? It's okay. I said, no, Ravi, why? This is not a small thing. You got to pay tax for next 10 years. He said, no, don't worry. It's not your fault, etc., etc. And then I hung up the phone, but I was still sobbing. And I thought, what do I do? I said, the least I could do is go to that MD and ask him, why I'm not registered, why I didn't get this green card. And I went up to the MD. It was crowded, so they didn't allow me. But somehow I persisted. I told that security guy, I'm not going to go to my home unless I meet this person. Whether I meet him here in parking or at home or whatever, I'm going to meet him today before I sleep. And I literally stood there. After 8, 9, 9 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock, he allowed me things. I was like, the security guy literally gave up. He thought I'm sitting there. I didn't even go to loo. I didn't drink water. I was just standing there and sitting on the stair. He allowed me to go and meet him. I said, Mr. Sharma, you told me you like this concept. I met you last week. And how come so nice? He said, oh yeah, but I remember your case. Because each of your directors is living in US. You have no Indian director. He did tell me, your company is not incorporated, this and that, etc. He said, I saw your paper. There's some things you're missing, but I think that will get done in 2 weeks, etc. And I filed a nice affidavit saying that in case they don't get done, we'll withdraw this. He said, okay. I told him that I'm one of the directors in the company. I was carrying all the seal, letterhead, so I declared myself a director, I passed the resolution, put the seal and give it to him. He said, okay, come tomorrow and get your registration. And I got it next day. It was literally impossible. If somebody tells you 27th March, get it registered, it doesn't seem to work, right? And I don't know why Mr. Sharma believed in it, why those government officers believed in allowing me to put the application. But to me, it was and when I went to write my green card, he was he was too happy. And he said, so what are you doing? I said, I already resigned, if you don't remember. And I was supposed to go to bank and take an education loan so that I can go and pay for my course. He said, how much is your fee? I said, 50,000 rupees. I didn't tell him that 2 more people had resigned, right? But Then he said, Mohit, let's do one thing. I'll sponsor this course on only one condition. And I said, if I want to live in that house for another 7 days, another 3-4 months. So you can live in the house, we'll keep paying your salary, we'll pay for your course, we will give you all the benefits that you've been entitled to so far in the company. They just give you a lot of things, phone vouchers, this and that. You'll get all of it on only one condition, that you need to come back to this company to work for 1 more year. I thought, right away, what do I do when I come back after being a Java professional or e-commerce guy? I'll just get some chair. They just yeah, you can pull here in the meeting. So, after what will I do if I become a Java professional, to be here? He said, no, we'll do an online spice exchange, we'll do something, don't worry about it. Right, I was like a very idea kind of a guy. I said, no, come back. So I went and did my e-commerce, and Java, I became a Java programmer. But I was really bad at that, really bad at that. And I got figured out very soon that I'm not like a coder. And then when I came back to meet him again after 1 month, he said, Mohit, how are you doing? I said, I'm doing good, I learned HTML, this and that. Then why didn't I make a company website? Now I was so bad at that, there was impossible I could have made a company website. So I said, okay, let me try. And I came back and I downloaded one site called foodvision.com. We're a food company, so I searched a food company. And I thought I'll just copy paste this website, right? I downloaded the whole source code, copy paste. If you change the HTML in the backend, you can actually reflect the page, it will look like that. If you just change some of the name, it will get reflected. So I did that, but it's still looking very messy. So I went to my teacher, her name was Sugandha. I said, Sugandha, you have taught me HTML, right? But can you create a website as well? She said, of course, I mean, like easily, right? How can I teaching you guys? So I said, why are you teaching this company? Why don't you go and really create stuff, right? Why don't you go out and work for great companies? He said, because nobody gave me a job. I don't have a work experience. I said, listen, I'll give you work experience. All you're going to do is make this company's website, right? He said, what is the guarantee that you'll give? I said, I'll give you experience certificate now, right? Don't worry about it. But you need to make this. And as he was making it, he told me one day, I need all your brochures and I need your pictures of the gravies and this and that. And then I said, I need a scanner. There was no scanner available. I could not have went and bought one. You'll not believe it, I went to Dadar, where the scanners were actually sold, and I asked them, who bought scanner last 10, 15 days or 1 month? And the company nearby, he told me a couple of companies, I went and met 5 of them. One of them agreed to give me a scanner for like 5 hours. And I said, keep my credit card, keep my license, I'll get a scanner, scan some of the material and come and give it back to you. And I'll also pay 5 rupees the rent, right, for that. One company actually agreed for it, the Lakshmi Towers near Dadar. And I went and gave it to Sugandha, and I said, Sugandha, now you can scan pictures and make a website. Driver was very happy. Sugandha got a certificate from us. She found a job ultimately in Egypt. She was so happy. I mean, she had a lot of issues with the boyfriend and the family. She called the boyfriend there as well. They got married. I met her recently and she was so happy. She said, Mohit, that one event turned out my life. Driver was very happy as well. So to me, a lot of things happened, but I just believed in it that it would happen. And it's not a big deal, right? And but after this, again, my salary was 12,000 rupees during those days. So when I looked at all the offers in newspaper, it used to be like 40,000, starting 40,000 USD, 50,000, 60,000 USD, etc. I used to wonder, Java programmer, he used to get paid so much in US, and I did the calculation, multiple 40 rupees or so, this comes to like 16 lakhs. I said, how much do you spend? And I found out from people, they said, you spend maybe 8, 10 lakhs in a year in US. And that means, if I go to US, stay for 1 year, I'll save 6 lakh rupees. That's much more than my 4-year salary. So I decided to go to US. Even before I finished my course. The only thing I was a bad programmer, so I got to figure out how do I still go to US. And one day I told Priya that I'll take you out for lunch, and there was a walk-in interview happening at Tunga, Andheri. And I said, just order food here, and I took one more friend along with me so that Priya has some company. Just sit here, let's order food, and I'll come back in 15 minutes. I just want to get an experience, what it takes to give a programmer's interview. I went up the stairs, I answered a written test, very, very quickly actually, right? But somehow I got 75 and 78 marks, which was qualifying. And the guy called me for an interview. He asked me a couple of things. He said, well, your logic is great, etc. Although a lot of your questions are actually answered are wrong, but you seem to have a good logic around it, right? You will become a good programmer. And somehow he offered me a job. The only thing he said is that you're short by experience by like 5-6 months. I said, how long will it take to get a visa and come to here? He said, maybe 5 months. I said, then get done, right? I have 6 months of experience in my resume, another 5 months, and they give me a job. I came to Ravi next day. I said, Ravi, you told me that I had to come and work with you for 1 year. And by the way, none of my colleagues in that course gave an interview. I told everyone to do it, but nobody gave it. They just felt that, they're just learning it. If they go out and give an interview, even if they go to US, they'll get kicked out. And my maths was, even if you get kicked out from US, right, after 4 months, you tell that guy, I don't have money, right, so to pay my ticket back to India, so they'll buy your ticket. You'll still save enough money, right? 4 months is more than my 2 years of salary still. So I said, it makes sense to go there, right? Why are we not going? But nobody did that. And I still wonder why they did not. So I went to write, I said, Mohit, don't worry. Life is a long journey. You know, the roads will cross often. If this is what you want to do, just go ahead and do it. I said, right by yesterday in the house, he paid my salary. He said, just don't worry about it. Just go and do it. And you know, I came back and because I was supposed to go to US, so I told Priya said, well, before you go to US and you'll call me after 3-4 months, why don't you go to Bhopal and you know spend some time there? I said, great. So we went to Bhopal and I found a small company which I could join and learn programming actually. Because I said, now I'm going to go to US, I don't want to get kicked in 4 months, I better stay there. So I started, you know, writing Java code very seriously. But in that company, the problem was business. They didn't have enough, clients, they didn't have enough projects coming up. And I said, yeah, let me solve this problem first, right? Let me get some business for them. I went and met a lot of companies around that area and started getting some websites. I just had a good job and they made me marketing head of that company, right? Forget about being the programmer. They're like 3 months. So, and one day I went to a small village. In that village, my job was to create those kiosks where you know somebody can, a village entrepreneur will put up money and put up a kiosk and be connected to the district administration so they can get a birth certificate and all of those kind of things, right? Without coming to all over the district. So I did that. But after 3 months when I went back to the same village, they told me that the guy whom you met last time who put up this kiosk has died. And I said, how come he died? Like, I mean, you're so young. He said, yeah, he died of malaria. And I said, malaria? People don't die of malaria. That's not a big deal. Yeah, people die of malaria, diarrhea, everything in this village. But it was so small that, and they were completely cut off during monsoon. You can't really travel from village to district. It's completely cut off. And that was a big shock for me. I said, I want to go to US. I'm worried about how much will I save. And in my, just near Bhopal, the people dying of small diseases. That was a big shock to me. I said, I want to stay here and do this telemedicine. Someone came back and I found out there's something called telemedicine. And I wanted to do something about it. How do I connect this village with the district hospital so that, I said, we are worrying about birth certificate and death certificate. Here, we should worry about connecting a doctor actually first, right? And I came back and I went and met Dubey saying to say, I want to do telemedicine. He said, you go and meet health minister or the secretary, etc. I met everybody. And it took me 1 year. Dubey saying he knew me by my first name, I think. Because every time he used to fly, I used to find out from a secretary and be there at the airport to receive him and to see him off and tell him, sir, you should please do something about this telemedicine, right? Because they need to change the law fundamentally to say this is allowed. His question was, if you connect the village and district hospital, and if you couldn't transfer the data on time, or something goes wrong while you're transferring the data, and doctor couldn't get the advice, and patient dies, who is responsible? That you, doctor, patient, etc., etc. So there was no answer to these kind of things, and so it could never take off. But I met him so many times, but it still didn't work out, right? But meanwhile, I was working with that company, right, as a marketing head, and one day I resigned from the job, thinking that I should focus just on telemedicine full time. And I resigned with 5 guys, who my program was there, right? And at the end of the day, I took them out for dinner, and they told me that, sir, aap marketing wale ho, hum programmers hain, why don't we start 2 different companies? And we literally started, I was like, you start with like 6 people team, and at the end of the day, your partnership is over, and I was literally alone. My only hope was one guy who was working in my same company, my co-founder, who became a co-founder, Gaurav. And I think he was my only, I put up a slide on that, I'll show you. Yeah, look at this. This is actually how I felt. And Gaurav and I decided, that we should really change it. This is the actual picture I took up actually, right? This is how that bad was, which motivated me to stay there. I don't know if you can see it. But I told one of my colleague, Arun, about it. And this is my co-founder. This picture much later though. That I was telling him actually what we're trying to do. But what I realized that because telemedicine was such a powerful purpose that you want to change lives in rural villages, that everybody was motivated about it. And that really helped me. I think somebody was asking me how you were the co-founder. I think the key to get those co-founders was that we had very huge, very meaningful purpose actually. And I keep looking at a lot of people who want to make teams. People come and work for you not because you can say, there's a huge concept and you can get too much more value. Because then may not come in 2-3 years and it will take even longer, right? How will people hang around still? I think it's because they believe in the same purpose as you believe in, right? I don't believe in telemedicine so much the way I believe in it. And the Tufel was again, he thought that whatever you're doing in MP, it can be replicated in UP, in Bihar and other places. So that's, I mean, that's the purpose actually helped us get the people. And I didn't really knew that, how they will actually play a role in the company in times to come. So when we sat down for the first time, I said, look, this company belongs to all of us. We own it equally. So, and with that statement, I divided my shares, in four, saying we all got equal equity. This was 2002, and the first share that I gave up to them was in 2006 after Seed Fund invested in. For 4 years, they had not even one document, not even one paper to say they own shares in the company, right? But they just believed in it so much. So I think I was very lucky that way. And but what really happened for those 3 years after we started doing telemedicine, that we couldn't get a government to help us. But we had a small team of people, 5, 8 people, I think 8 of us. And it was fun because we didn't have any projects. Priya was already working with forest department. She used to pay all the house bills anyways. All we used to do was, try and get some good orders, do some good stuff. And we used to play volleyball every day for 2-3 hours, right? And one of the guys was a bank guest in Badwari. He was my product head now. And I think we call him online god of Karwali. He's amazing. And we were bank guest. He used to get a tiffin, some 10, 50, 20 parathas. So it was good enough for everybody in the company. So I think we were just having a gala time because free food, a lot of games every day, and games were compulsory for everyone. In fact, if you were good at volleyball, we used to hire you. So it was good for everyone, the pew and everyone, irrespective of who you are, everyone used to play. And I think, but after 2 years, I realized that, what is this, right? We are not really making progress, we are not going anywhere else. And I sat down with everybody and I said, look, I'll give myself 2 more months. If we can't turn around this company in 2 months and say what we're going to do, we'll shut it down. I still remember, they keep telling me, everybody cried, everyone cried, saying, Mohit, how could you do this? And all the vision that I told them, telemedicine, school software, land record software, paperless offices for government, all of those things which we did in between, they're telling me the same thing. They're telling me, how this could be big and how could this be game changing for everywhere else. We were talking to Lalu Yadav, for doing RFID, railways. I did all of those things wherever I could find out. And but then they said, no, you can't do this. But I said, look, nothing. 2 more months, and with that I took a train to Bombay in the same day evening without a reservation. I didn't even know where to stay in Bombay. But I'm like that, right? I decided to get married. I didn't have a house to live in, but I still did that. I thought I'll go and change this company, and I took that plunge. I came to Bombay, I called up one of my friends.
Yeah.
You got to pull a chair from the meeting room just up.
What's the camera speaking of it? Someone's helping me.
So I took a train and I called up one of my friends on my way. And one of them told me that you can come and stay with me. His wife has gone to parents' house, etc. So I stayed with them. Next day I happened to meet a dealer. So one of my friends was visiting a dealer to buy a car. I just happened to go along with him. And I heard the dealer calling on the phone that for the website. So he's trying to place an order on the website and discussing with some team. So I said, are you need a website? He said, yeah. So he's there. So I said, okay, how much are you paying for it? He said, 15,000 bucks. I said, 15,000 for a website? In Bhopal, we do it for like 7,000 bucks. Like, what a big deal. And he said, are you serious? I said, yes. And I, literally forced him to cancel that order. I said, just cancel it. Don't worry about it. Just cancel it, and I'll do it for 7,000 bucks. Right? And I got an order. And I sent the letter, and I faxed it to Bhopal to show everybody, look, that's my first day in Bombay, and we had one order. And next 3 months, I spent at the dealership just to see how he does business. Everybody was pissed off in Bhopal because they said 7,000 rupees, Mohit. You spent 3 months there, and just all you do is generate more work for us every day. And I used to tell them, make this. There's so many stuff, there's so many modules that we made for a dealership. But another amazing software. It automates the whole dealership, and it would. And I was not a good programmer, but I was a good guy to really see, how would company use it, right? All I've seen was in my last company, getting a website done was, how would people use it, what would they do with it? And I really made a software a dealer could use it. And then I got a big order from HDFC Bank for almost 15 lakh rupees. But I gave it up, saying that, I forget one thing. So one day I went to Ravi, and I gave Ravi some 10% equity in the company, just because he was so nice to me all my life, so I gave him some equity in the company. I went to Ravi, I said, Ravi, I don't have money, and I'm doing this dealer software now for the last 3 months. Why don't you just invest some money in the company? So he said, okay. He got to meet me a lot of, big guys from Dubey and other places where he was exporting, but nobody was interested to pay me 5-7 lakh rupees, right? I think I learned that, you go and ask for like a couple of crores Otherwise, nobody really interested. 5-7 lakh rupees, nobody gives you. So, Raibai said, after the whole discussion, Raibai, it doesn't seem to go anywhere. He said, Mohit, actually, what's your problem is? Your problem is, you're too desperate to do everything. You have done so many things in the last 2 years, right? Look at the number of software you create, right? That 30, 40 software. You're not really focused in life. Your problem is focus. I thought, he said that and I realized, okay, yes, maybe that's right. You know, I don't do everything. I came out of that and I was sitting in this nice double-decker bus coming back to, to science, it's just that science. And I thought that, you know, one thing is going to change my life is I know only one thing. I said, before I get on the bus, I decided what is that one thing. Is it school software, land record software, the dealership? Somehow, you know, I couldn't give up that love of cars and I said, you know, maybe dealer software, right? Maybe I'll only do things related to car. I got down, I called up my friend in Bhopal and said, you know, our company has changed. Only thing that we do now is automotive. He said, he thought Mohit is just saying like that. He said, I don't know, Mohit, come back here, we have got this new contract from police department, we have this and that, etc. etc. I took a train next day, went back to Bhopal. And I presented a slide, I'll show you the slide. I'll come back to the slide maybe later. I talked about all of this. Yeah, I sold the software myself to almost 30 dealerships in Bombay. One of my colleagues called me one day and said, Mohit, if you sell the software to Fazal Boys, I'll believe you've done something. I went to Fazal Boys office and I told him, you know, the software was 50,000 rupees. He paid me 12,000. He said, you know, 12,000 is the last price. I still sold him. And I told them that, you know, you would have said, you know, give me for free, I would have given it to you because my friend told me that all I want is Fazal Boys to use the software. I want Fazal Boys name in my client list actually. So, I mean, it was done in like one day. So, and then I said, I'll be automotive, right? So I did a small slide like this. In 1990, I don't know if you all remember those cars, right? Fiat and Ambassador, some of us would have seen in our families actually. India's market was like less than $1 billion. In 2010, I projected them to everybody that we will possibly have 30 car brands because I could actually see that automotive is changing. So I said there will be a lot many dealerships, there will be a lot many cars, etc. etc. And India would possibly be just 3% of the worldwide market, right? But if you can now see, if you just extrapolate this, you know, and this is where we would be, right? Dubai itself sells 50 or more brands. Australia got almost like 60 car manufacturers. So what you see in India is going to be more and more actually, right? If you meet Auto Expo, you can actually see how many more brands are going to come to India. So India would possibly be 11% of the worldwide market, right? This has not turned out to be like this in the last 2-3 years, but it's actually an opportunity. But nobody believed in it, right? Everybody thought that this is not how it's going to be. But I thought, I didn't really worry about what they're saying or what they think about it. I was, sorry, I'll put this off. I thought that, you know, this is where we want to be. So everybody said that, Tufel said to me, he's still with us saying that, Mohit, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. I still remember the dialogue. I said, come on, there's no basket, there's no eggs. All we've been doing for 3 years is just running around and not reaching anywhere. So he said, okay, whose responsibility is to pay salary next month? I said, it's my responsibility. And with that, you know, I came to, I said, Tufel, don't worry about it. Just go back to every client and tell them that we have changed our business. We don't want to go and do anything else. We can't do this software now. And he did that. And I came back to Bombay. I went to Raibai. I said, Raibai, I'm focused. I want to do one thing. He said, okay, so what's the name of the company now? So I didn't know any name. The name of Verisha Solutions Private Limited. So he said, Mohit, what do you want to do? I said, all the dealerships, I'll connect them to each other. Because I can see a customer goes into dealership 1, asks for a car, the dealership says, I don't have that car, and I actually know that other dealerships have the same car. So why don't we connect them so the dealer can actually see other stock and trade it. So, okay, so why don't we call company Carwala? I can't tell you how much I hated that name. And I hated a lot of advices, you know, in general. So he said Carwala, and I went and I googled it, and then I looked at the domain name, it was not available. So I was so happy. This domain is not available. Otherwise my boss, you know, and I respect him so much, he has helped me so much in my life, and I don't have to take that name. I felt it was like Dudwala, Autowala. I really felt bad about it. So, but then I could go to Raibai's cabin bank, I said, Raibai, maybe Carwale. Right? And I didn't feel good about the brand for a long time. Then I met Prasid Joshi and I asked him, I met Prem Mehta of Linta and I asked him. And everybody said, it's a good name. It's a nice play. Then I saw so many people doing this Wale after we did that. But that's how it was born actually. And Raibai gave me a card and I said, Raibai, look, I need to pay salaries, you know, on time. So Raibai gave me a credit card and I really don't have cash. But this card has got 2 lakh rupees limit. You can take this, you know, whatever it takes to do it. So if I give you a credit card and say no, pay salaries with that, you can't actually, right? So I took that card and I thought, where do I go and serve this? And to get 2 lakh rupees, you know. And then I thought the only dealer is the only answer. I went to Fazil Boy. I said, Fazil Boy, Arif Boy, can you serve this card? You get 2 lakh rupees paid, pay 190 back. So he said, okay, boy. He thought it's a good deal. He'll save some 4,000, 5,000 rupees. He did that. And he said, then he told me, oh, the transaction went wrong. I think the money will come only after 3 or 4 days. And then I went after 4 days and he said, I'm sorry, Citibank and ICICI, there was some issue. Why don't we come next week? It took me 45 days to get a 190 check from him. But for 45 days, every day, I went to him in the morning. I thought my office starts at Fazil Boy's dealership. I used to go there at 10 o'clock, stand there. He stopped coming at 10 o'clock, he used to come late. But then he gave up as well. You know, he thought that how long can he cheat with me, right? He gave up. 45 days after he gave him money. And it was good to pay salary for a month or two. When I came back to Bhopal, I thought Priya was about to deliver a baby, and I came back to Bhopal to take care of her. We had literally no money to pay salaries. I made a list of everybody who was rich in Bhopal somehow. I figured out, you know, from here and there. I made a list of all the rich people in Bhopal, and I went to meet each of them. The way I went to meet a scanner company, and I actually knocked their door and said that, you know, would you, why don't you, and I invested in this company, it would be good. Some of them were really old and didn't have kids. So I said, uncle, if you invest in this company, it will be like your son, you know, they will grow up, Bhopal would be, I will be known for it, you'll be known for it. Most of their wives believe in it, you know, they did not. But they said, "ठीक है, लड़का इतना कह रहा है, तो why don't you give some money, right?" So I think I got some 1 lakh raise from them. But this is a typical example of, you know, you raise money from those HNI, and I had no clue that, you know, VCs existed. I went to my relatives. My parents really never had enough to invest into it, but we got all our friends. Each of us got each other friend and said who were in good company. One of the friends was in US. He invested with us. And I mean, so, you know, if you bootstrap, you basically make it like this, you know, friends, families, foods, HNI, like all of those things. And then one day, I read that something called VCs exist in this world, you know. And when I read about it, I knew that VCs are there to invest money into the startups. I couldn't believe it that there's somebody's job is to give money to startups. And I said, when I can go and raise money from these people, this is, getting money from VC is nothing actually, right? Incidentally, in between, I applied for a tender in Bhopal, and before starting this, you know, I couldn't get it. But that's why I gave a presentation to government, and they said, this is great concept, and we are doing it for free for them. Saying, you know, you allow us to put this infrastructure around the district, and as people come and transact, we'll make money out of that. But they issue a tender, a Florida tender in the newspaper, and the condition was you should have revenue of 80 lakh rupees, you should have deposit of so and so, and I had none of that. And you know, at the last day the tender came in, I went to the government office, and just sitting in the parking, I saw across the road Bhopal Automobiles, like a big dealership. They used to sell Ambassador and tractors and jeeps, etc. I thought, yeah, I don't have the money and I don't have the balance sheet to go and file for the tender, but this guy would have. I literally crossed the road, walked into his office, and I found out who that MD is, and I said, could you tell Mr. Sanghi that somebody has come from collectorate? So that we are actually thought on the government officials, he allowed me to get in and meet in person. I offered him saying, you know, I'm so good at this, I'll do this software, we'll do 50% partnership, etc. He agreed for it. He gave me his balance sheet to apply. He bought the tender document. So just think about that, you know, I just didn't give up on that, I just tried and it happened actually. And finally, the company who was supposed to do this project, tender didn't come to us, it went to some company called Adam Comsoft, it was one of the big software companies. They got the tender. Unfortunately, they couldn't get Dubey to inaugurate it, you know, for 6 months. But they couldn't get the kind of support they wanted from the government department. So one day they called me up saying, you know, they want to give up this project, but would we like to take over? And I was like, too happy. They gave me all their computers, like 8, 10. They gave me one or two employees. They gave me some cash to manage all those things, like 2, 3 lakh rupees. And all I did was call up Dubey office and sir, we want to inaugurate this next week. And he said, done. Because for the first time, I was not asking for telemedicine and big thing and changing the law. It was so easy, you know. And then one day he just inaugurated it. Just 7 days. I said, will you just come over and inaugurate this whole project? It was that easy. So I think all that I really toiled for those last 3 years was very, very helpful. Government was so cooperative with me because I was to be in their office every day, doing so many things. Everybody was very cooperative. The first time, you know, I was not asking for those big things and not following up like crazy. So that's how it started actually. But when I knew that VCs existed, I made a business plan. You know, I made maybe 60-page business plan. I came out of MBA, right? So and I downloaded a business plan software, rested with that, and made a huge business plan. And I sent it to 300 VCs. Every VC who existed on the net, who had written venture capital on his profile and got an email ID available. I wrote to everyone possible. And I waited for like 45 days. Not even one reply came actually. Not even one. Not even that auto reply. I'm on vacation. Not even one. I should have felt at least one reply should come and nobody replied. Then I said, yeah, what do we do? In meanwhile, the business was changing already. We became car wale, we connected all the dealerships. Dealerships were not talking to each other, they had no faith in each other. And it was already changing every week. And I said, dealers don't want to do business with each other, let's change something here. And I said, we had everybody's stock. We had a stock of all the dealerships. Let's put it together, put it on the website, and tell the customer. Then they said, how do we tell the customer? I said, give a small ad in Times of India. And on the classified page, Times Drive used to be there, right now it's called Big Weeks, but Times Drive. Give a small ad in Times Drive for 6,000 bucks. A small ad in 6,000 rupees, and I think we started getting some traffic and some inquiries. Next week when we gave the ad, Times of India almost called me up saying that the region's office, the chairman's office, had refused that we should not carry this ad in the classified page. We can't carry this ad because it was a classified page. What I was doing was also again classified, right? So they literally thought that with this, every dealer will advertise with me and I'll ultimately kill that, right? But I thought that if the region office is worried about this ad, there could be something in it. And that was really very encouraging. So we said, this is cool. Let's keep doing this. And I told everyone in Bhopal that we should go and shift to Bombay because there was no dealer in Bhopal. I said, neither we are close to market, neither we are close to anybody else. Why don't we shift to Bombay? Everybody refused. Nobody wanted to come to Bombay because they didn't have volleyball ground in Bombay. They thought they'll travel in local train. They used to show the local train pictures and all that. But somehow I said, no, this is not done. We will all go to Bombay in 4 months. And meanwhile, I met Alok Mittal, and I said that he said, he got agreed to let us present to Band of Angels in Delhi. I presented to them the whole thing, and after like 10 minutes, nobody asked me one single question. It was completely silent. Nobody just asked us. They just said, thank you. I said, any question, please? Thank you. I said, this is so bad, right? Because we couldn't get any traction out of it, no interest. I came out of the meeting and I told Safal, my only goal is to present to one more VC and at least get 1 or 2 questions asked. At least somebody should be interested to find out about this business. And then we get a chance to, so I forgot. This 300 VCs I wrote, right? Nobody responded. And my business was already changing so much that I couldn't maintain a 60-page business plan, so I reduced it to 5 pages. But even that 5 pages was difficult, every 2-3 weeks. So I made it to like 2 pages, just for my convenience actually, right? And then somewhere I read that the only way to go to VC is to get a good reference. And I had no one. But I thought reference, right? It could be many kinds of reference. I thought there would be one guy who would have, from starting a school, that would become a VC. Or there would be somebody who would have become a VC from Bhopal. So I started searching, venture capital Bhopal, venture capital science, all of those things. So I found out one guy, his name was Mohit Butch. He was with Google Ventures as partner. And he was the director of Google now, because this company got acquired. And he was a VC with Google Ventures, and he was from Bhopal. So now I knew one connection, and I found out who his father is. His father was Butch, who was like a government secretary. I went and met his father, and I said, I met uncle. I said, I told him a lot of things about things. He had an NGO. I did some work for an NGO a long time back. Somehow I met him, and I said, uncle, how is Vineet? He told me about Vineet, etc. I came back and wrote a mail to Vineet, saying, I met Butch uncle, and etc. And with his reference now, he didn't give me a reference, but I now wrote, which Vineet replied to. And to me, it was for the first time that reference do really work. And Vineet replied, and he said, I'm coming to India in February, and why don't you come and meet me? So I went and met Vineet, and he said that when he presented, they really asked a lot of questions. And also, good thing was they gave us so much of advice because they see the similar businesses in US. But he told me, Mohit, your company is too young, that the of the company is not yet ready, and I don't think we can invest. But we'll recommend it to seed fund. And he recommended us Praveen Gandhi and Mahesh Mohitti, and they looked at us and they said, they will be interested. But if Vineet was recommended to somebody, they will really see it very seriously. But just think about it, right? Reference do work, but what kind of reference I actually got? I really digged it to find out, somebody. Now, it's so easy when I think about people from RD, right? What does it take to get a professor to write to one of the students who is possibly a VC, right? And now, opportunities are plenty actually. But that's how it worked for us. And then we invested, actually a nice slide, which will, I talked about all of this, saying that, yeah, look at this slide, I don't know if you want to figure out what is A, B, and C, because it's a Nuka research. It has gone almost 50 times since we started, in 2006. This would have been used car listing. We get around about 30,000 listings on Carwale every month. OLX got 50,000 dealer listings. We got around about 22,000 dealer listings, right? Without spending a single rupee in the market. There are new car prices, what people come and check. There are used car prices in terms of your used car valuation guide. Do you want to make a guess where I thought what the business would be, right? I mean, I started this company thinking one of these things. Want to make a guess what it would be? New car, right? Yeah. So actually, I thought this is what will be huge because I thought it's so difficult to know what is the right price of a car when you go and buy a used car. I went to a used car dealership. I saw people, haggling around prices, and there are no standards around it. When I went to Mahesh Murthy, Mahesh said that it's so difficult to sell a used car. The classified is going to be huge, and it is actually a huge market. And he's been into US, so he would have seen that. He thought this is what is going to work, right? But we made huge money out here. 90% of our revenues for Carval is still come from new cars. It's come from dealers, manufacturers, advertising, dealers buying leads from us, etc. It's that huge actually, right? So what I thought and what VC thought got changed, and I had no clue when we really pivoted this, right? I presented this business plan to them. They invested into it, but it was changing every 2 or 3 months, and I was so agile in my head. It took us nothing, not even a big discussion. I went to a board meeting and said that, I think the way we sold this lead was like this. Tufel came from a flight. I said, Mohit, I spent, the girl sitting next to me was assistant to head of sales for food. And I just happened to chat with her and took a number. And Tufel was a bachelor, and that's what his hobby actually. So he took a number, and I said, for the first time, maybe it's useful to us. I took the number, I called the head of food, and I said, on my side, I get 4,000 people inquiring about Icon every month. Will you be interested in that? I said, it was strange because food doesn't really believe that a third party should give them leads for their buyers. No, come on, our job is to generate leads for our dealers by walk-in or by telephonic calls, not to buy from third party. I said, okay, next month, this Verito was getting launched, right? And what they used to call it, something else. So I called them and saying, I got a Verito brand manager calling me, saying that you want to know about every customer who's inquiring, who's interested in Icon. So sir, do you mind if I give all those buyer details to Mahindra? He said, for a minute, he was like, he thought about it. And he said that, okay, let me talk to my agency. I don't think you can do it more because they are my customers. I said, sir, but you're not buying those customers, right? You said third party customers, you're not interested. His agency called me up and sent me an RO saying they 500 leads every month. And that was how we sold the first lead. But, and nobody used to sell auto leads before that, and we didn't know how to price it. We did a lot of maths to figure out what is the right price, and we sold it for $500. But that's how I started. And I went back to my board meeting and I told them that people are coming and researching new cars more than the used cars. So why don't we start putting out new car reviews and videos and all of those things. That's how it started. The model got changed overnight actually. So yeah, I think this was one of my big lessons. I'm very optimistic. I believe everything would. I've taken so many times a train from Bombay to Bhopal without a reservation, without any money in my pocket. And I walked up to TT and told him that, sir, I need to go to Bhopal, it's urgent, but I'm sorry I couldn't afford to buy a ticket. But do you mind, if I will not get caught, don't worry about it. If you catch me, I'll get down. But otherwise, just allow me to travel. And they did it most of the time. I somehow just managed actually. But I'm very optimistic normally in general, thinking I can come from Bhopal to Bombay. I shifted the whole team to Bombay without having the funding actually, and we had really very little money. Only those Arif Fadil boys paid us 2 lakh rupees, some money that we raised from those high net worth individuals, some of the friends, etc. And I shifted everybody in Bombay. And Vashi was the only place where we could afford to live in actually. So I actually came and stayed in Vashi because it was the only place we could really afford. And there was a volleyball court just nearby, and I could actually promise my team that they'll get to play here every day. And we played volleyball just nearby. For a couple of years actually. So, but I was being very optimistic. So, what I realized is that there's a picture of, not a real picture, but we did a similar thing in Bombay. We took a yard in Derul in 2010, and what I did was ICICI, Mr. Shidra Iyengar, who's in a board of ICICI Bank, called us one day to say ICICI got 5,000 cars which has been confiscated from the customers who haven't paid the loan. Can we sell these cars to customers? And eBay Motor does that. So eBay will auction these cars to dealership. But dealers pay a very small price for these things. Normally they make a cartel and pay a very little price for these cars. If the car is about 2 lakh, they'll possibly go and pay 120, 130. I took the cars from ICICI Bank, put it to the yard and I told ICICI it's free for you, free rent. I mean, you don't have to pay a rent. Just allow me to refurbish these cars. We got them clean, we refurbished those cars, and I auctioned them on Carval website. It was a huge success. It was such a huge success. I still remember getting a mail from my board saying that, this is the road to IPO. And everybody thought that bank suddenly got 25% more price than what they normally got. Everybody was very happy about it for 3 months. And then after that, after we sold all those cars, we sold almost 200 cars. Bank took 45 days to give me paper of the car document, a registration document of some of the cars. 45 days after customer paid the full money, after I paid the full money to the bank took 45 days to give me the document, and the customer really pissed with us. They used to sit in the office and really scream at us, saying that, you took the money, either you pay it back or you can't allow me to drive the car, right? Because bank has so many formalities to complete before they give the document. 45 days, and I said this is not going to go anywhere. And I shut down the business immediately, despite bank opposing it, despite my board opposing it. In fact, my board didn't allow me to shut it down, but I still shut it down, saying that this is not going anywhere because RTO is objecting to it. Banks have taken so much time. And you can't do a business where customer is fundamentally unhappy, right? It could be great for everybody else, but customer was fundamentally unhappy. And even if you have 2 or 3 customers of 10, I don't think it's viable actually. So we shut it down, we lost some 2.5 rupees in that. But what I realized that this was one thing. Everybody was so optimistic about this business, it completely went down. That, and I looked at some of the people that I hired in this company, like a VP or a senior person, or a VC round in fact. We raised 3 or 4 rounds. We raised around about $15 million or something like that. But I think I looked at each event thinking this will turn on my company. But that's not how it is. We seed fund investing into us. We were the first investor in the seed fund. And after this 4 months, my problems are different. Then I looked at one of the VP to hire for enterprise sales, the advertising sales. I hired that guy, but that doesn't solve anything. So I think a lot of us are too optimistic about a particular launch or hiring or a big client would just turn around. It doesn't actually, right? And then all this takes long. Seed fund, I met seed fund in March. They agreed to invest in April, and when the money came in, October, because seed fund was not registered. It just took them 8-9 months to give us a check actually, right? Sierra Ventures gave me a term sheet, and Sierra Ventures is very interesting. So I was now raised one round and read so much about it. I was in Bombay, I met Thai people, all of that was there, right? So I knew a lot more about fundraising. And I think Wispy from Sierra Ventures is one of the VCs. You can be lucky to get him actually. He's very hardworking. He spent time with us for 2-3 years, almost 1 year before he invested into us. So when I wanted to raise money, Sierra gave me a term sheet. And he told me on the phone what is the valuation that he gave me. And I listened to the number, I didn't like it, and I thought it's not good enough. After 1 week, he called me and said, what do you thought? I said, thought about what? He said, we sent you a term sheet. Do you think you can sign it? I said, I didn't even open an email after he told me that what is the valuation. And I presented to 7 more VCs in next 1 week. 7 VCs in 1 week. My valuation went almost like 2.5 times what Sierra gave us in just 2 weeks actually. And I realized that competition is the best friend. If you get 8-10 VCs interested in you, it's very different suddenly. So we raised money almost like 2.5 times more valuation, maybe 2 times, because Sierra gave us slightly lesser, but we liked them so much more compared to others that we went along with them. But Sierra invested in January. Sierra gave me a term sheet in January, and the money came into the bank in December. Think about it, 10 months. And this was 2008, that the big recession actually, and everybody renegotiated. Secure was sending a nice presentation to everybody how you should cut down. There's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? There's a train coming in. That's how we heard actually. But Sierra still honored their commitment. They invested slightly less than what they committed, but good thing was they invested. I think they did not renegotiate the valuation, another thing, which was very good. But what I realized that even this year, has been very tough for us in general. After Axel Springer bought it, Axel Springer bought this company. I was so lucky. There were 2 people interested in buying this company, Axel Springer and Car Sales Australia, and I took both of them to due diligence. Normally, what you do is you sign a term sheet with one, and then there's exclusive term sheet, right? You can't go and shop the deal. But I told them, I'm not interested to sell. If you are interested to buy, come into a due diligence, and then we look at the final offer, etc. So both of them did due diligence. It took me 1 year to sell the company. This time I didn't thought about, this time I took the time making up my mind. In the last 2 cases, they took the time for whatever reason. So it just takes too long. You think about, you go to a VC, he's agreed and say, give you a term sheet, money will be in the bank in 2 months or 3 months. It may not be, right? For a lot of reasons actually. So, but I think one thing we did give up was that we were so optimistic about building a valuable company. I think that was the core. So a a lot of things which went wrong. For example, one of the big business that we really thrived on disappeared last year. It gave us, it took away something like 30% of the company's revenue, but somehow we could just make up for it for something else. So I think all of those things do happen. I think I took this picture from called Wall of Fame from Carvalho. These are all the top performers in the company. What I realized that it's not about what you will do. I think that one of the big learning for me building Carvalho was that not what product, not what strategy, but actually who will do that. I don't know if you see that thing, but to us the people were more important than anything else. We invest a lot of time in hiring people. A typical interview at Carvalho will go for 7 or 8 hours, maybe in 2 or 3 phases. But most of the people will meet him. The whole team will meet that person if it is really important. Everybody is a beater, right? If one of us doesn't like the guy, we'll say, no, we don't want to work with you. We will not hire. We will go through a behavioral round. We could look at so much pain in actually hiring people. I think that makes. Then only you can say, unlimited leave, don't worry about vouchers, people claiming it, etc., etc. Because you invest so much time. It also makes sense because if you don't invest time hiring people at the time of hiring, then you invest time with them after you hire them, right? Then you sit down with them every month, explain them what is not working out, right? You give them, you do back and forth and feedback session for hours and hours and hours versus investing time beforehand, right? And we really invested a lot of time in building our hiring process, etc. Another thing I think we realized was the value. And we said that there are 4 things which define us. And I tell you how this came up. This took us 2-3 months to figure out how is Carvalho, what is really important in Carvalho, and what kind of people really grow in Carvalho, what kind of people you want to work with. And a couple of things which came up was that we are the people who respect individuals a lot in general, because you rarely found people screaming at each other in Carvalho. It's not that we don't disagree, we fight in the room, but otherwise I think we show a lot of care and concern in the behavior. We really care for people. And I tell you why this is so, because when we went to Bhopal and we started building the company, we had no money to pay salaries, right? And people work for you for free, or when you say I'll salary will come next month, only when you take good care of them. Not by by bossing around or giving them orders as if you hired them, right? And so my experience with the first company was again the same. I actually went to people requesting them to get things done, not by passing an instruction like Mario. So to me, it was fundamental in the company. That's how you can build it. And we said anybody who believes that he's because he's a vice president or he's a COO, he can just go and give an order to get things done. Is not our culture. So we really worried about this a lot. And we ensure that people who are like that should actually come in. I remember my son was not well in 2007. He was in hospital for 5-6 months. I came back to office after 6 months and I realized that something had changed in the company. It was a small company, 30 people. And I went and met a couple of people and they said, they feel good about that I'm back to the office after 6 months, but they're not comfortable. And I asked one of the lady, Bharti, what really happened? And she told me that, there's somebody who is like a rock star. I used to respect the guy a lot because he was our first VP and he was really engaged with enterprise sales and got a lot of business. He said, Mohit, we just not comfortable with them. The kind of language he used, the profanity was like so much prevalent in the office. He used to make all kinds of jokes, and not really care for who's around them. To me, it was okay. I came out of public school, but not okay if the people are uncomfortable. Right? Would you believe that we fired that guy in 1 week? He's a rock star. I just came back from a long vacation. We fired him 7 days, along with the whole team, 4 people who really supported him and said, this is how it has to be. This is how the company has to be built. Out of 30 people, 5 were out. And my board supported me actually. And I went back to board and I said, this is how we are. We shut down this company, but we don't want to compromise on the values that you have. So values are the system which you really reward people, and when you penalize people by not really living up to those values, then you really demonstrate that they're really, really important. We let people go on that. Be responsible, because very simple thing that I got the company registered in IT Park, right? And I cried when I couldn't get it done because I thought I'm really responsible for the results, not because of the effort that I took all these application forms, I deposited them, it didn't happen, so what, right? I did all of mine. I think in Carvalho we keep saying, we appreciate efforts, but you're responsible for the results written against your name. And everybody get measured only on the results. We had 70% fixed salary, 30% variable salary until last year. Everybody on a 30% variable salary based on linked to their KRA. That's not normal, right? I changed it because I thought we're the only one doing it for such a long time. I started changing it actually, now made it 90-10 or something like that. But everybody, including a technical team, was in that kind of a KRA. That's really hard to believe in that. But company was so much focused on that we say something, you write a result, and therefore everybody in every team got 1 or 2 goals and not more. Everybody had 1 or 2 goals, and that's what they chase. So technical team, we said these are one or two things that we worry about, and so am I, and so that we call them, widely important goals, and nothing really matters if you don't achieve them. Everything else doesn't really matter. You may have done 5 more things, that doesn't really matter. So I think be agile, because we change so many things and model keep changing all the time. This is how we are. This is not that we sit down and say what are the 4 or 5 things that you want to put on the board, right? We just thought this is how we are. And people who are not comfortable with this won't really stay here long. People who worry about structure, people who worry about not changing things, etc., are get uncomfortable with this company. We change things all the time actually. So we thought people who are okay with this ambiguity, or people who are okay with this agility should be here. We never are, because you change so many things. Sometimes it's not good for one department. Sometimes it's not good for one individual. And we say good respect it and say this is good for the company. So let it be. I think coming from Bhopal to Bombay was one such thing. It was a lot of people were uncomfortable. They stayed in Bhopal, they belonged to Bhopal, but we did that in the larger interest. Okay. And I think this is our unfair advantage. We just focus on car buyer and car seller. We could have done a lot of things. We could have focused on enthusiasm, we could have focused on other things. We recently bought a company called Power Drift. I don't know if you've seen it, but they do amazing videos on automotive. Fantastic videos. So an auto expo, when I put Power Drift stall, people come in and they want to take a picture of Power Drift video in the background. People are so passionate about it. They're growing at almost 20% month on month in terms of their views, in terms of their subscriber base. It's that good. And those guys were nothing but a passionate bunch of people who used to get out every day. They were all working. Somebody was working with Vodafone, somebody was working with a manufacturing company. They used to get out early every day, 4 o'clock. Road test car, road test bike for 2-3 hours every day in the morning, and they used to go write about it. We saw them, and we saw a kind of people, who are building something very valuable. We bought that company over actually. They're not even a company. We got it registered. We told them we'll invest money with you. We gave up your job. We pay your salary. We gave them equity. We said you own the company. You build it. And Carl invested and got 60% of that company. But Power Drift, I can tell you, you can already see it going. Is that it's just the passion of the people who did that. So, but we did not do it in Carvalho. We had a separate brand doing it. At Carvalho, we focused on buyer and seller. I'll show you some business line. Yeah, maybe 30% today, right? Carvalho traffic last month was 8.2 million visitors. And if you put bike quality to it, we were 11 million visitors. So I think 11 million visitors is on like 5% of India's population. If you look at car buying population, it would be very, very huge, 30%, maybe more than that. People who actually buy a car is such a car buying. Some of the business line is advertising, which is very obvious because we connect buyer and sellers, manufacturer owners, which is classified. Dealer is still list their car for sale, individual list their car for sale as well. And we have been a paid portal until recently. We made it free for the individuals, but dealers still pay us. We had something called a lead management process. So if you come online, there's some of the brands that we work with, like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Skoda, buyer from taking a lead until his whole car buying. So we help them to do that. And some of our digital services for manufacturer. This is how it has been. I think it has been a decent growth for us. Couple of years have been bad, but it's been decent growth otherwise actually. Something like that. And this is also because despite the fact that auto industry grew by -2% this year, and last year it was like 1% growth. So given the market has been that bad, I think it's very fantastic. And the one thing I realized was that you need to go and build because dealers or manufacturers didn't really believe in our business model. Didn't really believe that people are coming online and interested in cars and they will not go to dealership, but they'll come online. They thought anybody who goes online will also go to dealership, yeah. So why do I need to pay you, right? This is the thing that we get all the time. They think that the same guy who's come online, the same guy, anyone's going to call their dealership. Where else will you go to buy a car? So why go to car market? I think we started doing a lot of things to build it. We have been at Auto Expo all the time that give us some good exposure actually. We do these awards with AutoBuild. AutoBuild is a brand owned by Axel Springer, so we do awards with them. I recently discontinued it this year, but that gave us a lot of exposure in front of manufacturers. So we went to Tata Motors when Nano was launched, saying they said, give us a Nano to drive and we'll write about it. They refused. They said, no, we don't even one car to give it to you. And we bought a Nano from a dealership, 2010 or so, yeah, maybe not that year. We bought a Nano from a dealership. Went to Gulf, they paid us some 4-5 lakh rupees, and we drove this car across the country. It got accidental once, but then we got it repaired. And we did an online tracking of this car. We put a GPS and we showed that car on the map, where it is, and people started following up. Every city we went into, people were already there to receive us. There was such a good warm welcome. They took us. There's a community around it, etc. And after we finished this, Tata actually came back to us saying that, we just saw this whole Nano drive. Can we get the pictures and can we get a write-up on that? And they just refused to give us the car right a month back. And they published about it in their newsletter. They talked about it everywhere else because somebody drove the Nano across the country, some 2,500 kilometers, and that shows how good the Nano in the car was, right? So they wanted to go and be associated with that as well. So I mean, a lot of enthusiasts and car wallets, they keep doing all these things. We go to another brand, get some sponsorship, they go and drive those cars and write about it. But yeah, this is very interesting. If any of you have been from New Bombay, you would have possibly seen this. Because what happened is that we went to this car and got a vintage wheel drive, right? And we said that, why don't we do it in New Bombay? They refused. They say, New Bombay, it's like Navi Mumbai, they didn't really find it attractive enough. So we said, why people in this part of town should not be getting a chance to see these cars. So what we did is we went to all these Singhanias and Malayas and everybody else and said, give us your cars for a few days. We parked these cars in an orbit. And we haven't done it for 1.5 or 2 years now, but we'll do it maybe this year. So we went and took all these cars and put it up there, for people to come and see. Then we took these cars and put them in a garden outside the mall for people to really go and touch, take pictures from, etc., etc. And then we drive all these cars from here to Lonavala actually. And their families drive it, the people who own these cars, and it's a nice outing for them. And we go and do some awards there actually. But it was just so good for people to really feel good about it. And I think that started giving us some more exposure. And I showed you this nice slide a few minutes back, like 2010. This is it should be around about $40 to $43 billion now. This is what is likely. My feeling is that if India is going to be that huge, third largest auto market, just after US and China, if India is going to be that so huge, and if Carvale is going to be the leading automotive motor, then possibly we will be among top 5 global automotive brands. Each of these companies, Auto Trader does $1 billion in revenues. China Car does like $150 billion. Car Sales does $300 billion in revenue. BitAuto does again China something like $280 billion in revenue, right? Each of them are that huge. If India is going to be that big market, possibly a $1 billion company, little $500 million company from India in a couple of years, maybe this decade itself. I think that's what really aspires us, and that's what we want to go and.
How much you are doing currently?
How much are we doing currently? I'm not supposed to talk about it, but double-digit $1 billion, you can say.
$1 billion.
Yeah. So I would have said it had it not been Access Banker company, I would have been a VC company, I would have just said it. Normally I say it, if Sierra was investing and I went and talked about it, it was all there in the news actually, and before even Sierra invested, so that's become. I think another thing is, which I was talking about, is one is really find a meaningful purpose. That helps you get this team around it. To me, it's purpose, team, and then cash actually, right? In that order. So you don't get the money unless you get a team. You will get a team unless you get the right purpose. That's how it is. And I learned that hard way. And it took me 3 years to learn that I should do only one thing. I think one of the things which was relevant for us was that the co-founders, we really worried about commitment more than the competence. In early days, I think that really matters a lot. Everybody stayed with us for all those years. Those 3 years, we didn't really grew much. Nobody got paid salary. So far as my co-founder, he's from a very rich family. He got 11 bathrooms in his house, and there must be like maybe 20 rooms there for, right? And they own gardens and gardens of guava and mangoes, etc. The fellow came and stayed with us. All I used to pay him was his home rent, which was not more than, if I'm correct, 1,500 rupees, and one time at the restaurant for $750. He can eat unlimited breakfast and unlimited dinner, and that's all. I mean, just think about people sacrificing so much. And Rajiv Banwari, for example, they gave their campus placement and stayed with us for a couple of years. I mean, they built a bungalow in Pasik Hill now after having very soft cash out, etc. But people really gave up so much in early days. I think the commitment, today even, I see a lot of companies getting formed, and the way I look at it is that when people say that they are willing to do this, willing to do that, I just want to see on the paper how much they compromise, how much do they really do, what should they say. If somebody says this is what he's willing to do, working 18 or 20 hours, just ask him to take a 50% of his salary, for the first 6 months. But give up equity in the favor of some other co-founder, right? Anything like that, what people do is more important than what they say. So, commitment over competence. I think we did this with all our softwares, especially their software in the site. We iterated, and we even do it today. I did a company last year called Motor. Carvale owns the majority of that company. We did that. That company is like 7 crore this year in revenues and profitable, highly profitable, like 40-50% margin. 1 year, we could go from 0 to 7 crore because we sold the software before we built it actually. We went and sold the software, we showed them the screens to one of the automotive brand, we sold the software and then we went back and built the product. So to us, but because of that, we can actually iterate and so. I think it's important for each of us to know, what is, how you are as a company, what makes you, because that allows you to get people who are in sync with that. Yeah, I think you should be optimistic about building the company overall, but not about particular employee, client, VC round, etc., because they go wrong all the time, and it takes a lot longer than what it seems actually. So I think Mahesh Murthy actually gave me a lot of insight in this, that when you go to become a thought leader, people got to respect you as a domain expert before you really go and make a big impact. And I think other thing that I realized is that not a startup, you don't really think like, what I regret building Carvalho has been that I didn't thought about building a global company from day one. It takes the same amount of effort, time, and sleepless nights, 70, 80 sleepless nights every year, whether you build Facebook or you build Carvalho. Right? If I had thought about, I would have go and build a global outlook company, it could have been like that. I mean, it doesn't matter how you think about it. At least today we think about, building a huge valuable business, but this is not how I thought about it when it started actually. And we invest a lot of time, hiring good people, really hiring good people. I have one slide which I have removed from here. Otherwise, one of the tests that we do is ask ourselves that if this person resigns tomorrow morning, are we going to really work very hard to retain them? If not, they're already due for replacement. Because if you just think about the people who report to you, and if you ask, if any of these guys resign tomorrow morning, will I really work hard to retain that person? If the answer is no, if you're going to feel good about somebody resigning in your team, then you're just avoiding the pain of not firing them, right? And we do it all the time. At least a lot of things have changed in my team. Despite the fact that we kept the core team together, and it's not that. Even the core team has been churned in terms of roles, other things. But we've been very focused on making sure that the people are responsible for the results. If they don't deliver it, we definitely change them. I think that's all I have actually. I think one nice slide to say. Thank you. Anything that you want to ask me, I would be really glad to answer. Unless I've already taken too long. So. Yeah.
Wait, just wanted to share. You spoke about that it's because you in turn had taken advice from people like Piyush and Lindas and all those, right? So now, when it comes to branding your venture, somebody selling a used car versus somebody selling a new car, I think those are two different perceptions in the mind of a customer, that okay, because if somebody is selling a used car, I may possibly not be very much happy to reach him out for a new car, because the way a used car is sold, it's different from the way a new car is sold, right? So how do you manage that branding aspect, or how do you
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing actually, and very tricky for us also, because but in India, it was too early to segment and say, I could easily done a website for used cars, one for new car, right? It could have been easy for us to do that, but it was too early to segment in India, given the revenues, given the reach, that, I just told you that double digit $1 billion is not huge, it's not triple digit, for example. If I could still divide, if I further divide it, it was even worse. So we thought that in India, people come in looking for used cars and end up buying a new car, and vice versa. It happens all the time here. 60% of people are actually buying cars are upgrades now. You have a used car and you have a trade-in and you upgrade. So we kept it together. But good thing on the web is that if you see it, is that you can actually go out and only 20% of my traffic land on the home page. Everything else is because of SEO or SEM. If you go to Google and say put an ad for used car, the guy will land on a used car page, right? He don't even think about what else is there on the car value. You don't have to worry about a new car research, a new car video. All he does, land on the used car page, does the work and goes off. So as new car buyer. Yahoo, I think, is a great example of this. Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Music, etc., etc. And all people land on this respective pages actually. So if you have to think about what do I really stand for, it's important. And I think we stand for a one-stop shop for a new car buyer, for a used car, for a car buyer actually, not a new used. But in terms of getting people to the respective thing, you don't have to worry about getting on the home page and saying they may be confused, should I click here, should I click there actually. They go straight to that section. So 80% of traffic actually goes specific to that section that they belong to. So I could actually see my used car traffic growing all the time, I can see my new car traffic growing all the time. Not because I go and advertise in a specific way. We normally say that, so I had done advertising a couple of times and I've seen the impact of it. If I need to go and boost my new car traffic, I go and talk about buying a new car. So many choices. You are confused. Here we are to help you, right? Or a used car, you haven't got the right price for your car, sell it on car only, something like that. But so we didn't really worry about branding ourselves either new car or versus used car. Not
So you think, I mean, from a customer, your user point of view, it doesn't matter whether, as long as it's car, whatever it is. So
yeah, so people actually come and look for what they need to look for, and they come and they do it. They start from the web, right? They start on Google or somewhere else, and they go specifically to what they want actually. So only thing we worry about is that in SEM or SEO, people get exactly what they get. My bounce rate is 28%, right? 28% bounce rate. That basically tells me that whether you're looking for a used car, you still get to a used car section and you're really happy about it. If you're looking for a new car, you get to a new car section and you're happy about it.
I'll tell you why I asked you that question. If I'm a consumer, like for example, there is not the online but the offline part, the Mahindra First Choice. Right? I know it's for used car.
For the used car, yeah.
So possibly I may go there for my research, but if I have to buy my car, and if I'm intending to buy a new car, then I'll not go there to buy a new car.
That's right.
That's a bad perception which I'll carry in my mind.
Yeah. No, it is there, and I debated this question myself so many times. Should we focus on new cars? So should we focus on used cars? And we said that we can't segment it. Number one, given the market, it's still very small. India sells 2.5 million cars, nothing actually. Right? So, you leaving?
Yeah, I have to be somewhere at
Sure.
college, and it was a really nice talk.
Thank you.
I have a small question for you,
Sure.
if I can interrupt.
Sure.
You spoke about having 4-5 different fields of interest actually. One was about this medical to the rural
Yeah.
villages, one was about something else, software and this and that. So finally one day you realized you need to focus on something, and you did that. So now when you're doing this one thing, which is about cars, do you miss doing other things as well?
No, the problem is in the focus. We do so many things in cars, right? For example, that used car, new car, for example, a very big example. We could have focused only on one of that. Buyer versus enthusiast, right? Power drift is there now for enthusiasts. So if you ask me, my struggle, MotorGo I just talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
MotorGo is a dealership software, OEM software for manufacturers. It's a global. We are doing it in Korea, Singapore, other places, not just in India. So the problem is still in the focus. I could have made a much larger company if I had just said I'll do only new cars and do it really, really the best, right? I think that habit that I want to do too many things, I haven't gone that completely. It's still there, but I don't miss it because I realized that if you focus on a domain, there's so much more into it. We couldn't do bike wale until 6-7 years. We did it last year or a year before last year, just a year before actually, 2012. Because we thought when we go to cars, there's so much more to do it, right? Right car price guide, getting the on-road price code, doing the videos right, getting the specification right. Actually, it's not easy. So I think when you focus, there's so much more to it. Rather, the beauty of focus is that you realize that how much more you can do on that. So I don't miss it actually. Rather, it's opposite. I miss the fact that I'm still tempted, to do more things in order to avoid that. So I was part of another startup getting built recently, which helps people go from A to B. It's a computer startup, the Zophop, and we'll have the app out soon. If you want to go from Vashi to Kolaba, you hit the app. It will tell you that the train leaving Vashi station at so time, and it will also give you real-time availability. It will tell you about the buses. It will tell you about, you can go to Vadala and take a taxi from there, it will book a taxi automatically, all of those things it will do. Because I thought people's car ownership will change. People will not buy more cars in 10-15 years, so we need to change that. So I've been part of that startup getting built, but the same thing, right? I'm just doing things again. Right? So I don't miss it actually.
It's great to know that you actually found variety to do in the same field. Because I also struggle with the same thing. I'm an architect by profession. I work as an architect for 2 days as a freelancer. The third day, I don't want to do it. I want to go back to volunteerism, which I'm interested in. The fourth day, I'm working on a short film. I cannot do anything for more than 3 days. The fourth day, I need something else to do, and that is my problem.
But I think to have a team which focus on doing it. I see my common people, they're so amazing. The same thing which I did, and I'm so ordinary at that, and they take it to the next level actually because they focus. They do the same thing and they make it 10 times better. I think that's when you're not focused, you really miss to become great at that.
I know. And it was really nice meeting you all. Please carry on. Thank you. Bye.
I have a question.
Sure.
You spoke about funding for quite some time. You said you were struggling to get funding. Did that occupy a large bit of your
Time,
energy, IQ? I think.
Yeah. So in one slide, I don't know if I showed you that, but I think that time you spend earning money is a waste of time. There's a time you spend away from your customers, away from your employees, away from making a product. That's literally a waste of time raising money actually, right? And I've done that. I wasted 2 or 3 of 2-3 years at car wale doing that. Selling company, waste of time, right? It gets return for everybody else, but you're not building product. You're not building your customers. You're not building anything which will take the company forward. Selling company is like some people will get rich. That doesn't make your customer more happy, right? It doesn't make your employees happy as they'll get money. But yes, it occupied a significant amount of my time. But good thing was I was raising money throughout my journey, right? I raised it from everybody I could knew about, right? Bringing my wife to in-laws, partly from my parents, everybody I get money from all the time.
So what's the short step for it? I mean, taking us back by 10 years, what could have been the best answer?
No, I'm sorry.
Not, see, you like you said, spent so much energy and time getting this money in place.
No,
so what could have been done 10 years back? I mean,
So to me, I think if I redo it, and I'm a part of another startup I was telling you, right? The best way to do it, in my opinion, is to build a great product. So BCs will, beat the path to your door and give you the check. And there are many examples like that, where you can actually do such a great job with your company that they want to be part of it. I mean, we did about it WhatsApp, right? And Secure invested $8 million in that company. And after 2 years, they wanted to write one more check. And the founder, he took a picture of the bank statement and sent it to them. You know what was it? 8 million point something. So they had more money in the bank than they raised in the last round. And we still want to put more for whatever reason. So I think that's the great way. Just Dial is another example. I believe there all the money that they raise lying in the bank, more often than not. And that's one of the great thing to do. If I redo it, I'll build a great product. Because even after you raise money, what you do? Now you go and invest in money into product, right? And building a great product, great business model. Why don't you do it in the first place? The question could be you don't have the money to go and do it. But I think it becomes so much more easier now to build companies versus what it was earlier.
So this is a general question. Like how your revenue model look like?
Now, so we make money from buyer and seller, right? We normally charge seller, not buyer. Buyer, everything is free. Sellers pay us. So sellers are like car manufacturers and dealerships. It could be individuals selling their own car. So we make money from the seller. That's how. So either it's advertising or they buy a lead for a buyer.
How much percent is advertising?
50%.
50%.
Yeah. Advertising will always be like, and I think we did a great job in advertising. I wish I could have shown you how we transformed the whole advertising. In bike there's no banners, for example, right? We don't want to run banners in bike we just want to go and do a contextual advertising. The CTR, typical CTR in the world now is 0.02%. That you know what it means? If 10,000 people came to your site, only 2 clicked on it, right? 2 people. CTR is 0.02, 0.03% now. Our CTR has gone up to like 15, 27, 15%, 27%, 50% in many cases actually. Because it's so contextual. If you're looking for a particular car, I actually know what your next step would be. And that's the only idea I give over there, right? And it's a huge value for the brand.
What is it? 10,000 users. How much CTR?
I said CTR, click-through rate. That if you're normally when you put a banner on the web, you'll get a typical CTR of 0.02, 0.04. It's been going down actually. The banner blind, and people know their banner exists, they don't even click it down. Everybody knows that they are banners. So we innovated on that a lot to change it. So advertising will actually grow. My CPM rate could be 10,000 rupees CPM, because I put your ad on a page which is so much more relevant to you, and people will click it 20% of the time.
Yeah. During your whole story, you were consistent to persist any problem. But I found that the ICICI, we stalled whatever we did.
That's the case.
Yeah. You left it at
Yeah. So my board is so.
Why did you persist on that?
Yeah. So I see a lot of models here, and I board refused to support it, and I persisted, saying you're going to do this, we're going to do this, will turn out. The OLM model. I went to one of the manufacturers and said that, I sold the lead to Ford. I told you. Then I sold the lead to Ford. I called those customers after 1 month, finding out, sir, did Ford dealer contacted you, which car you bought? And they said that, in 70% cases, nobody called them up. So I said that Ford has bought the leads from me and did what with them? I called up Ford again and I told them that, I spoke to 70 customers that I gave you last month. And sorry, 100 customers I gave you last month. And 70 said that nobody contacted us. So why are you not doing it? You're paying me for those customers. But they say, yeah, we gave it to dealership. Maybe dealership was not interested. Maybe dealership didn't have a tool to call them and manage the funnel, etc., all of that. And Ford will not buy leads in some month, they'll buy leads in some month. I went to one of the brand, and I said that I'll have all these customers, I'll call them up, I'll give it to dealership. I'll call the dealership also to make sure they call the customer. If dealer don't call the customer, I'll send a guy dealership. He'll sit down at dealership and call the customer and get it as right done. And then I'll call the customer again to find out whether he bought a car. I did that model. And I would have made 40-50 crores just with that model, over the last 4-5 years. and everybody was believing that this was why are we getting accountability for selling a car? And I said, doesn't really matter. But it was a hugely profitable business, for a long time. So my board told me that Mohit, we all oppose this model, but you persisted to do this, and you finally got great revenues. Why you want to shut down this particular one? There's only one reason, because there was no way you could actually solve a customer problem. If I was fighting in the law. If RTO says that I need the customer to come to a registration office to sign because his car is being sold to someone else, and the customer whose car was snatched, why will he come to the RTO, right? He's already feeling bad about it. He's feeling, you have sent up goons and to take another in the car. Why should I come and cooperate with you? Plus, bank has their legal formalities for 45 days. They didn't get documents in many cases. So I thought I can't change the law and I can't really fight with it. I can fight with other circumstances, right? And I think I also burned my fingers with telemedicine, that I couldn't change the law and I couldn't get authority to implement those things. So maybe that was the one reason.
For whatever the story I heard, I see that it's the team that you had has really cooperated and been with you there through thick and thin. And that's the question on my mind. I do have a vision, but I don't know how to get that team together. Like somebody will come, and really believe in the vision. And like you said, 2-3 years they may not get anything out of it, but afterwards it will grow. But how does one get I'm sure a lot of people have visions, ideas that they want to start that core team to really attract. You have done it in a very great way.
I think the meaningful purpose, and let's say what is meaningful purpose, right? What is a good purpose? There are a couple of purposes I think they are very meaningful. One is it improves lives. So you can actually say, it improves lives. For example, in my case, we are improving the telemedicine, we are improving really so many lives actually, right? As far as I said, car wale, I don't know if Arun would have joined me. But for that telemedicine, he came from a small village himself. He actually saw that, Chinwada, how things would have been. He would have loved, why not do that? He gave him a well-paying job. He was a salary of 900 rupees and he came down to Bhopal getting nothing paid. So, because of that purpose, telemedicine actually was something which he got inspired to do as well. So Phil was the same case again, in my opinion. So to me, the meaningful purpose could be it improves lives. It can right a wrong. So something is happening wrong, for example, and you can do something about it to get it right. Prolong the existence of good things. For example, wrinkle-free cream, right? You say, you look younger for a longer period. You can just say, whatever is good, how can I prolong it? Or health, or so many other things. I think when people do these things, it would be meaningful purpose actually. So 2-3 things. I think, if I'm correct, the guy who wrote the book, The Art of Starting Up, Guy Kawasaki, I think I did a very nice presentation on what is meaningful purpose. I think that's very inspiring that way. So, if you find a purpose, you will find soulmates in my opinion. Plus, you can do things like write about it, blog on it, so that people can actually go and read it and say, I'm interested in the same thing. Because you need to take it out, right? You need to go and tell it to someone. I found my co-founder on one of the forum, which was my school forum actually. And if you belong to some alumni forum, etc., I'll go and write about over there. I'll go to events with the co-founder events and people go and pitch. Maybe you have some people pitching in a similar domain. Maybe there's a startup already being formed. You want to be part of that. I'm part of another startup, exactly like that. There were guys who were doing similar things in different areas. And I just contacted them and said, you're going to do this. This is exactly what you're going to do as well. Why don't we come together? It's a 5-people team, and really, really great team, I can tell you that. Sorry, it took us 3 months to make it. But just we look at people who want to do a similar thing, nothing else actually. So then you don't have to go and sell them vision, right? It's already they already sold on it themselves.
Especially in case of startups, it's very difficult to meet the ends, and it's a very difficult period for you to really establish. At that time, you're trying to cater to the market, and whatever comes in, you want to cater to. So you're working on too many products as you did. And I completely believe that you have to actually concentrate on one product, build on it, and grow there. But you actually went ahead and you said, no, we are not working on this, and now we are only going to concentrate on. So it's too much of a risk. I thought, I couldn't get into that site because I'm totally a risk-averse person. So how do you plan that risk, or how do you tell anybody? How do you really
it could have
tell
flopped.
yourself?
It could have flopped completely, right? Coming to Bombay could have flopped as well, right? So you're right. I told you, I'm very optimistic in general. I was telling some people before we started the session that normally I believe everything will be as I plan. So now I have some people in my team who are deliberative. So they are the people who will see risk in everything, right? Even if something is going to be absolutely smooth, they can tell me 5 things can go wrong. I go to them all the time. I said, and I seen this 2 people go to this client meeting, they come out of it. I asked the one guy, one of my co-founders, I said, Gaurav, how was the meeting? He said, fantastic, man. It was too good. And I think we'll get this in like 2 weeks. I asked my other guy, my head of sales, how was it? I think that guy was bluffing. I don't think it's going to be there at all. I mean, there's 2 different views on the same meeting. I was very optimistic. But one thing I realized is that, and I see it very often, is that one is you got to have a courage, right? I said husband and being CEO are similar, right? You got to have a lot of courage and to do the right thing. In my relationship, my mantra is very simple. I keep telling Priya, my mantra is very simple. I say love is a verb. Every time there's something goes wrong, I ask myself, what is the one thing that I should do in this relationship? What are the ideal things to do in the relationship? If it is to go and give her a hug, I'll do that. If it is to go and call up parents, I'll do that. If it is to go and, just whatever it could be. If it is to go back home, I'll do that. I'll just ask myself, what is the one thing that I should do ideally in the relationship? As a CEO, I ask one thing. What if I'm very courageous, what is the one thing that I'll do? Courage is my razor actually, right? Courage and ability to go get up and fix the things. So as a CEO, I ask, what should I do? If it tells me, you get up and go to the DP and give them the real good hard feedback and tell him honestly, this is how it is, right? And there's cases, right? What if you go to a co-founder and tell him that this is not done, you're screwing up my company, you're doing a great job in this, let's change it. Whatever it could be, right? The courage to go to Bhopal and say that, we are not doing it. I think I learned that in relationship, love is a verb, do what it takes to do it. As a CEO, have the courage and decide. Courage will easily tell you, this is the right thing I should do. Go and do that, yeah. And also when you do it, a lot of things which are not planned will suddenly come up, right? I never planned that those tenders will come up and I'll get 5 computers and I'll get the cash. They called me up saying, take these computers and take this money. It's unbelievable, right, that this will happen. It's unbelievable that somebody will agree to file a tender with me when I just cross the road and go to them. Unbelievable that I walk into people's house and ask for money and they'll agree to it, right? At least 1 or 2 of them agree for it. But also the fear of rejection, I think we worry about it too much. That they will say no. And people, I give an example, I came to Bombay and I sold the software dealership and I went back to Bhopal and I said Tufel here. Tufel was reluctant. I said Tufel, go back to Bombay. You build all the dealership. We'll have a baby in the family, so I need to be here, but someone has to be there in Bombay to fill in my shoes. So he came here. And I told, then I came one day to meet the VC. There was a meeting happening. And the VC told me, I want to see you at 8:30 at Hilton. And I used to stay at Jogeshwari. And I took Tufel and I went to the Jogeshwari station to catch a train. And the first train came, it was Virar fast train, it was completely packed, you couldn't get inside it. The second came packed, you couldn't get inside it. Third train I told Tufel, it's already late. The guy told me 8:30 sharp, Tufel, and I can't miss it. He said, okay, Mohit, we'll get into this one. He pushed me inside and he got himself as well. And I turned around in the train, I could see Tufel hanging literally outside the laptop bag, literally outside the train. You could have fallen any minute, you could have hit a pole any minute. And I told myself, no matter whether you build a company or go to a VC meeting, no matter what, you can't risk your friend's life. I got out of that meeting, got off that train feeling, thanks God, we just survived, but I'll never do it again. I went for that meeting, and after I came in, I said, Tufel, let's buy a bike for you. I never want you to get into local train again. He said, Mohit, his dream was to buy a unicorn. It used to cost 57,000 rupees those days. He said, Mohit, I want to buy a unicorn, otherwise I'll not buy. And all we had is 60,000 rupees in the bank account. 60,000 is what my whole capital was in the bank. The bike cost me 57. And I said, because it's the dream is to buy a bike, I said, well, let's go and buy it, right? And we bought that bike. He said, what will you do more next month for the salary? I said, we'll figure out, don't worry about it. No, I'm telling you that, we bought that, and I don't know what he did for the month to get a salary next month, I don't know. But at least I thought the right thing for me is to worry about this friend. Right? You would believe I would have won Tufel for the rest of his life, right? He would have said that, if this guy cares so much for me, many instances like that. He came to Bombay. Priya actually had one of her leg, while delivering the baby, she got anesthesia and went on another leg. So she was literally paralyzed for a while. And we couldn't, and when she came to Bombay, she said that it was called hyperesthesia. They became super sensitive. So even if she's sitting there and you hit here, she'll get a current, right? It was that bad. If the fan is on, she'll get a current. So we thought we need a car. We can't take her around in the auto, etc. So we went and bought a car from Mahesh Murthy, who was a VC. He said he'll invest. we had 1.5 lakh in the bank. We paid Mahesh 1.2. And we told Mahesh that rest of the money will come in tranches, And we took that car because that was an important thing to go and to do for the family actually, right? I think I did all the time with a lot of courage and a lot of hope, whatever was right. It could have bounced back as possible actually, but I think I learned one more thing. In Escape from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, it talks about that bullet versus cannonball. I think I learned to experiment small all the time. I'm doing a couple of pilot projects this year, and we always do small. And whatever is small means basically, bullets basically mean low risk, low distraction, and low risk, low risk, low distraction. That's what it would be. I'm going to do that. And if it works out, then you put everything behind it and escape it. I don't know if I answered it, but...
So for you, self-belief is, I think, underline and jump into it. There is nothing like planning.
No, I think there are people who do it really well. But I think I do one thing. I ask myself, if I have all the courage in the world, what is the best thing to do? And if I write that, then I go and do that, whatever it takes to do. At least you will be courageous, right? You will live saying that you feel nervous. You feel really nervous about it. But
that can be.
Yeah, but that's right?
So Mahesh, you spoke about in early stages of business, it's commitment over competence. As you grow now, how do you trade off that?
So a lot of people got salaries paid more than I paid myself until 2010, 11, right? Just think about it. There are many people who we hired and paid much more than what we paid to ourselves, and that basically started feeling that we just start hiring people who are better than us and reward them actually. So to me, it really mattered. Tufel was my first VP marketing, and we realized that he was possibly not the best guy to do it. We got someone else to do that for us. And I think it boils down to the same thing, courage, right? You decide that this is what it needs to be done, and you sit down with the founder and everybody else and say, this is what is right for the company, let's go and do it. If you're not the best guy to run it, let it not be. Arun, I think, lost interest in building a big company. He was, I think, a very startup guy and very great guy actually. I think I meant to be somebody like as good a problem solver as Arun is, but possibly he's not the best fit for a large company. So I sat down with him and was trying to check. I said, maybe your heart lies somewhere else. And we decided that he will go into his own startup. So I think all those things do happen over a period of time. And not everybody grows the company as much as the company grows. Company is growing like 100% every year. Not everybody is growing 100% every year. So over a period of time, people will not be able to grow as much. People will not.
How do you encourage your
other people
to keep the pace?
Yeah, but one is, of course you put more challenges, right? But I think to me, in an early stage, you also see it's very little time to go and develop people. You're not going to develop your own team. The executive team, the VPs and senior VPs, are not the one you're going to spend a lot of time mentoring and executing, mentoring and developing. And you can't. First, you've got to grow yourself. I grow myself as more than enough. Forget about growing my team. So to me, you want to go and hire people who deliver you from day one. The people who could actually come and take a chance, rather they teach you. My sales guy had taught me a lot more things than I would have taught him ever actually. My job is to make sure I have a right direction of the company, have a great work culture, give them all the opportunity, give them due credit, listen to them. Just because I'm a CEO, I don't have to add value in every discussion, right? Rather they fix me all the time saying, what is really wrong. We reviewed our leave policy recently, this Saturday. And only discussion we had among all of this was on this board, say record leaves only, right? We said, should we worry about recording attendance, this and that, etc., because 350 people now in the company, there are a lot of bad behavior. It's no longer a small company where you can control everything, where everybody was self-motivated. A lot of people take advantage of that. They'll not come, they'll go to Goa and say, I'm working from home. But this happens many a time. So what do you do in such a scenario, right? But we sat down and we said, let's worry about hiring good people. Let's worry about how do we build this company with positivity. We said, let's record leaves. But that's the only thing you should worry about. And that's it. There's one line which just came up in the whole discussion. After half an hour, 1 hour of all the argument, the only thing we noted down was this. So to me, but directly came out with a sales guy. He said that, Mohit, why do you worry about people at all when you want to worry about their performance? So I think what we've done is, one, we hired people who have really delivered in the past, we see a good track record, and second, we give them all the opportunity, we listen to them. And we have made sure that we treat founders and non-co-founders the same. We haven't treated them differently. No, a co-founder doesn't have more value or more say or more power in the company just because they're a co-founder. Every meeting is not a shareholder meeting, right? It's not a co-founder meeting. Because you're a co-founder,
you said great products, VE, right? So great ideas manifest great products. So in technology, we see that great ideas, great products are copied. So have you faced any issues as such, and how you take it?
So, I mean, we were literally killed, with one of the auto sites. Everybody that replicate, I see on the e-learn so many requests saying that car wale copy car wale, and just for $100,000 people are willing to do that actually. And there's low entry barrier in a classified site, there's low entry barrier in a portal like car wale, there is low entry barrier. So I think we innovated a lot of the business model, the way we monetize it. We did significant things with that. Even now we're doing a couple of things with dealerships and other things that it would be difficult for people to copy. All we tried doing was run faster every time. We were lucky to get early adoption of the customer. We were lucky to get funded on time and scale, etc., etc. But the only thing is that we keep running faster every time. It's very easy for people to catch up. It's very easy for people to copy what you've done. But it's easy for us also to do copy. Right? If somebody does a good job, you just go back and copy. So one of the things I think what becomes important is agility in the company and ability to turn around things really, really quick if you thought about it. And that's one thing that we saw that was slowing down. It takes a lot of time in product and tech to really deliver things once you thought about it today versus what it used to be like 5 years back, 6 years back. 6 years back, you thought about something, it get done in 2 days. Now it takes 2 weeks because there's a UI expert, there's a product manager, there's a quality guy, there's a tester, and it goes through all of them. I get, desperate and frustrated with that easily. But
so is it possible to patent the model?
no, not possible. The software and technology is not possible to patent that.
It's basically having online as well as something offline, probably which.
I think the world is moving towards it. That just because you get information, I think it's that era is over. You can't build model on just on information. You got to go beyond that. You got to go closer to transactions. You got to go closer to people's real life experiences, etc., etc. I think that is mattering a lot more now.
Have you heard of Zipcar.com?
Yeah, very much.
US?
Yes. I've met their VPs, everybody else. Yeah.
So how do you see something?
I think people are trying to do similar model in India, and I think it would be a good one because India has got only 1 car for every 100 people. US got 70 cars for every 100 people, but India will never go to be at that scale. We will leapfrog, right? We went straight to mobile, not to landline, right? We never had that landline penetration. We went straight to mobile, straight to tablets, not to desktop. So would be this. People will go to car sharing, car rental. All these models will be much earlier here than what they had in US. US took 100 years to implement these things. 1900, 1905, first car was manufactured. They took 100 years to go to model like car sharing. Atlanta, the city was bankrupt, right? There's 90% car penetration, but doesn't help. If you plot the commute in around the world, the average score is 64% in terms of quality of public transport, CO2 emission, car sharing, all of those things. So it's that bad, yeah. World area is 64%, including a lot of US cities are 64% because they have cars but they don't have a great public transport. Even if they have, people don't use it so much. So to me, India will be a great example of having these models much earlier adopted here. So it will change for sure. The great future for Zipcar and car sharing coming here. I don't know how much time you have.
I think we'll close with the last question and then
We'll meet after that.
Well, you had impressive run, and you're seeing that build great products. How do you rate yourself against your competition?
Against the competition? As a product?
Yeah, as a product.
I think I rate us like 8 on 10, and I rate them like 6 because one, they copied, right? And they didn't really innovate so much. They did a couple of things really well, better than us, but few aspects of the business. So I think that's one. I did 8 because I think we could have done much better than what we did. Just again, given the focus, right? And also, I lost 2 years, 3 years selling company, raising money, all of those things. So that took a lot of my time away from the core function. So, yeah, but nobody really innovated significantly in this business. We innovated a lot with the business model and monetization. My revenues are like 5 times, 6 times in my competition. And a similar company like us, whose traffic is very close to us, I think our revenue are 8 times in that. Just think about that, how much more we monetize. Similar traffic, similar product, we can monetize 7 times, 8 times in the company. That's huge.
Just across of this, just to put it in perspective, to give a direct reference to oncars.com. From a user perspective, the UX features and.
I haven't really seen that for a while, for a long time, but now I see it. Now you're telling me if that's great, I'll go and see it. I haven't really seen it for a while. Some people, some of my editorial team actually came from on-cars. So, but you say you realize that on-cars is much better in terms of user experience?
Yeah. UX features, yes.
Sure, I will see that. But I think what really matters on a portal like Carnival is the accuracy of the. People worry about two things: pricing and specific pricing and the data, right? Accurate data. And I think we did a great job on that. I have people who go out to 80 dealerships every month in 15 cities and get the actual prices of the car, which we put it up. Good dealers are still electing to send a fax to you and prices change, etc. People walk in and we get it in the first 5 days of the month. So prices get updated by 6 or 7 of the month. And actual real on-road prices. Specification, we compare each car on 140 points. I think those are the things I think we do really, really well, and that's what matters to people. Thank you so much. Very patient.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Time Mumbai, we'll give a big hand to Mohit. Thank you. So we'll spend some time networking and